Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids and cubs, and welcome to season 5 and episode number 725 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Always 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Friday. Thank God on Friday, August 29th, 2025. And it is a rainy day here at the Beaver Lodge. And I'm so happy because we needed the rain. We got about 15 millimeters yesterday afternoon and night. Unfortunately, starting precisely just before 3 p.m., which was precisely the time I was scheduled to play that big tennis match. So that didn't happen. So I also won't be going up a division because I needed to play this last match and win it to finish in the top 2. And since we can't play it, so slightly sad beaver. Real tears. See? So a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. Kids and cubs, how is your mental health today? Mine is doing very, very well. Number one, had an easier time getting up this morning. So I think the things that I'm doing is working after throwing my schedule off. And because, first of all, also, I did a pre-record yesterday for Monday with Mr. Grizzly. So I got some Grizzly time, and Monday you will too. So that's very important. That also helped my mood. And also because today we have a guest joining us. And as you know, because I've confessed it on the show, I have a bit of a crush. Just a bit of one, small one. Because, but he makes me laugh, makes us laugh. As always, a wonderful, delightful presence, good friend of the Beaver Lodge. So, kids and cubs, would you please put your paws up and give a big round of applause for the man you know and love, Mr. Creek Pete. Welcome to the Beaver Lodge, sir. Welcome back to the Beaver Lodge.
Good morning. Yeah,
How are
yes.
you?
Well, it's been a while.
It
Yeah, I'm
has
good. I'm
been.
good. How about you? Like
I
we talked a little bit before the show, and I said to you that I'm not quite used to getting up this early right now. So it's I don't so
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here, but I'm also don't know how this is gonna work out right now. I'm still mentally half asleep. So we'll see how it goes.
You're not as giggly yet as you were at 3 in the afternoon.
But it's Friday at least, right? So it's all good.
All right. Yeah. So
Lost you.
normally when I have guests, I ask them, how is your mental health doing today?
We'll see how it goes. I don't know yet. It's still too early to tell. I'm in a good mood, so we'll do it from there. We'll go from there. It's the foundation is good.
Okay. All right. We like that. Okay, let's build on a solid
Yeah,
foundation there.
yeah,
It seems we might have a little bit of a delay for the audience,
yeah,
but that's okay. I will just wait patiently, and everything
yeah.
will be fine. So, my friend, there has been a lot going on. Is there anything that has particularly grabbed your attention that you would like to talk about this morning?
Oh my gosh. What isn't happening? I mean, you thought after the election there would be some sort of, boring time. But
Right?
that hasn't happened. I don't know why. I was hoping for some downtime and not everything being so crazy, and that didn't happen whatsoever. But I guess we're subject to the circus that is down south of us. So I guess
Mm,
that's part of the reason why, right?
right?
I'm assuming so. I hope so. I think that's hopefully once that, I don't know. I don't think that's gonna settle down anytime soon either. So I don't
Exactly.
know. But
Okay,
go ahead.
but
No, no. I honestly, there's nothing. I mean, Pierre's up to his old tricks,
right.
like I just,
So
I
so
don't
it's just
know. I'm
an
just so
overall
sick of this stuff.
yes, okay, I get where you're coming from. That overall sense of, ugh, we're just like, seem to be, like, mired in marshmallow, and we can't, like, really advance quickly. We need either direction, and it just seems to be always the
Right.
uh, same sitch sandwich, different day.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
yeah. Yeah, I get you.
It's so
Or same sitch
depressing.
sandwich, bite
It's not depressing. You know what? I
bite,
mean, I'm happy in the direction that we're going right now because
right?
uh, you know, I think we have a good leader that is, calm, cool, and collected, and I think we needed boring, and not to say that he's a
Yes.
boring guy, but I do think overall his, you know, stance on things is very nonchalant, and just get busy and do things that he needs to do, and I think that's the direction that Canada needed to go to. So that's a
Mhm.
good thing. But then again,
Right.
we have Pierre, doing his daily, podium speeches of creating division and making up bullshit. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
I keep referring to him as Canada's abusive boyfriend coming to the mic to tell us about how we're fat and ugly, no one will love us.
Pretty much. That's exactly
It's
it,
just
right? Everything sucks. Everything
everything's
sucks. But
you're not gonna do better than me, so you might as well settle. Just like, "Ugh, no thanks. I'll take the bear,
right,
thanks."
right.
Uh,
Really, again, like I just don't understand. The thing that really boggles my mind about him is that, like, you would think he would have been humbled a little bit, a tiny bit, but it just
right?
didn't phase him whatsoever. Just didn't skip a beat. The arrogance and
No.
dick, being the dick, right? Like, it's well established that the voters and everything like that call him a dick, and I've been calling him a
Yep,
dick for years now. I mean, he didn't
yep.
skip a beat with that, right? It's just straight up. It's his core personality, and that's it's just something that I think, if after that humiliating defeat that he did, and it really was. I mean, the
Oh,
conservatives that
yes.
might watch this and troll me every day, they don't really realize it was a humiliating defeat, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And you would think that that would phase him some way, but it really didn't. It really
Yeah,
did.
yeah, it's almost like, that Monty Python skit, "Oh, merely a flesh wound," or something,
Right.
or Pee Wee Herman, like, falling off the bike, "I meant to do that."
Right.
It's just
Right.
he just
Exactly.
gets right back on. It's
It's
like,
just
"Oh
right
my
back
god,
on. It doesn't skip a beat. And just
wow."
and literally the same. I mean, like, he literally started carbon tax 2.0 this week. I mean, it's so ridiculous.
I
I
know.
don't
I mean, is
understand.
there any other sign that you really have, like, you just have I wanna go to him and say, uh, "Dude, have a glass of water. You look dehydrated. Here's the melatonin.
I would
Your
say
act is
so.
tired." You know,
It is.
it's just, uh,
It is.
it's like it
But you know
listen,
what the thing is, and
okay.
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I know. Well, I would say, like,
No,
because he's been at it for 3 years, right?
right.
And he got the result that he got, and now he's just, like, trying to do the same thing even harder, so I'm just watching him, and I'm going, "Here's the living embodiment of Einstein's definition of insanity."
You know what the thing is? I honestly think it's a core personality trait within the CPC right now,
Yep.
I really do. I mean, if you look at, I mean, I think Aaron O'Toole was a bit of a departure of it, but I think throughout his campaign, he had succumbed to the pressures of their campaign style. Because you see him now, and he's definitely a moderate, and he's not the same type of personality as the rest of the crew that they have, which is
Mhm.
probably why he got the boot there, right? But
Right.
I do think that Andrew Scheer and now Pierre Poilievre, and I do think the core of the CPC is this way, and I don't think that they realize that this is a major factor as to why they've been rejected for the last 4 elections here.
Hmm.
And I especially Pierre losing his after 20 years, that they would stop and take a good accounting of what is, why they're being rejected by Canadians, and then, try and pivot. But again, and that word pivot is all over the place. You're on Twitter as well too, and you read the articles, and everybody's, oh, but he's got to pivot here, he's got to pivot. He cannot do it.
You
It's
cannot.
for his core character. This is who he is, and they're just
Right.
not going to be able to change that. But I mean, he
Yeah.
got his
No,
seat,
I
right?
hear.
He had to get his mulligan election, so he got it. He got what he wanted. He's still, the leader of the opposition. So
Mhm.
I think the
Yeah.
I think the House, I think the House of Commons will be interesting, because I don't know. Like, I think Carney has I think he's like me, like a sarcastic wit that he has, that he will be able to play on, like, once Pierre goes on his riffs about whatever his next slogan's going to be. I really do think that Carney has the ability to, like, mock it to his face in a political and savvy way that I think will be interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that too, particularly when the house comes back on the 15th, because we know that Pierre is there for the backdrop to get the clips. And whatever happens in the house, we're still
Right.
gonna get the backdrop of him in the clip, right? Because he'll edit what comes before and edit what comes out, and just show the moment of him being smug and smarmy, and yeah, and everybody's gonna take that and, drink that and go num 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 and think, "Oh my god, look at him being this strong fighter for us," like this. But when you're
Right.
gonna see the answer, it's like, I just see so many possible hilarious scenarios with, of course, potentially drastic consequences, but still hilarious scenarios in which the guy who says, "Well, I'm from the Conservative
Right.
Party and we're the party of the numbers and economics and prudent fiscal spending and planning and all that kind of stuff," tries to cosplay economist right next to a central banker. I mean, we saw how well that worked in the election when
Right.
his platform got
Exactly right.
completely
Yes.
eviscerated. Yeah, by using accounting that accountants go like, We don't recognize this. Thank you." Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
Next. Right? And then you have
Well,
an
I mean, that's
actual
exactly it, right? It's yeah.
guy
Like,
on the
let's
other
talk
side who
to the,
understands
to
how
the
bond markets work. I mean,
right. Let's talk to the guy with the PhD, right? Let's take advice. Again, I just don't.
Mark Carney
Um,
has it
I,
all wrong.
right.
Says
Right.
you.
I don't. I don't get it. I truly don't understand. I mean, this is it, Carney is an expert. Whether they
Right.
like to, the memes and the meme bots and all their stuff, like, they like to make up their own,
Yes.
reality. But the guy
Harper
is like
chose
a
him.
genuine economist, right? Right. And I Pierre just doesn't have the experience on anything. So I'm interested to see. They had Trudeau, right? Because Trudeau's the teacher, right? And that
Right.
goes with the the conservative tropes, right? Like,
Right.
he was a drama teacher and blah blah blah, and they had that, that base of things that they could, build mockery on, and build their meme machine on. And I just don't think that they have that with Carney. That they're trying to do this exact same thing, and it's not going to work. And you could see it in polling right now. Like, the for Carney is just, it's really something to see right now. And
Yeah.
and that honeymoon phase would have already passed by now, right? So again, we'll
Right.
see how the meme machine does when he's back in the House of Commons and spewing the exact same things. Like, it's going to be a rerun, and I don't know if Canadians are going to accept it at that point. By the way, I
Yeah.
just think that Canadians are over it. I think that whole shtick. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, well, it goes back
You
to
know what's
your
funny,
initial point
actually?
about.
Can if I bring
Oh,
up?
yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
please.
Okay. And what's funny is what we're seeing right now in the United States, right? With Gavin Newsom and how he's trolling Trump, which
Mhm.
is, I love it, because that's something that I do. Like, that's why the trolls hate me so much, because like I throw everything right back at them, right? The way
Right.
that they do it, and that drives them bonkers. They
Right.
love the troll. And when now that, like, especially like somebody like Gavin, who is just mocking Trump to the exact extent that Trump behaves, they are freaking out, and they
Yep.
don't know how to handle it, which is,
Right.
I wish the again, we're in our boring phase right now, right?
Right.
In Canadian politics, because that's, I guess, we're too nice for that. But I do wish that the Liberal team, the comms team, would take a page from, the Gavin Newsoms right now, and just fight back like that, because I think that the liberal progressive side is too passive in that regard. They don't play the game the same way that everybody else plays the game.
Right.
And I think that that's his detriment. Sometimes, like, it was a detriment for Trudeau. It really
Right.
was. Like, that's one of the main reasons why he's not prime minister anymore, is because he was too nice. He
Yep.
didn't, the comms team didn't fight back the way that they should have.
Right.
So I love that, like, Gavin, like, they're just every day, if like every day Fox News is losing their brain about Gavin Newsom trolling Trump as Trump. It's just insane. So I wish that was with our Liberal team fighting. So
Indeed. Yeah, I can see that.
looking at
And there
comments,
might be
yeah, he
something.
is.
Yes, there might be something planned there. It might be a little early in our cycle to bring out those guns, but yeah, I can see what you mean. Uh, and I also see, what you mean, because when you open this, you talked about the humility, and there was like some semblance of it in a video. But if you're making a video, you're engaging in your next vanity project, of course, where he promised that he would change and all that kind of stuff, and then we kept waiting for it, and it just didn't. Oh no, that was like that was
Never
10
happened.
nanoseconds
Yeah.
ago. That's what I needed to say then to get through that moment, and things are different now. So it was almost like that type of thing, because like he said it and then never even made an attempt to go back to it. It's just
No.
like you said, it was like just
No.
merely a speed bump, and he just kept on going. And there's a certain level of entitlement that emanates from that. I think that
Right.
might be one of the reasons that it turns someone off, because his whole situation, right, is it's not like Mark Carney, who's elected to be the leader of the party, doesn't have a seat yet and is looking for a seat to run in a by-election. Let's say someone gives one up and all that type of stuff. This is someone who
Mhm.
just ran in a general election, was told no, and said yes, but because I'm the leader of the party, I deserve to have a seat. And so, can I steal someone's horse and and ride it back? And then, in order to like make his big comeback, right? We're so back, it's a comeback. He went to the
Right.
second safest seat in the country, because I guess the guy with the safest seat didn't want to give up his, and then barely showed up. This had Damien do pretty much all of his campaigning for him, if
Right.
you listen to
Right.
what Bonnie Crishley is saying, like this, and then comes out of it like this, not the victory speech goes, "You don't give up, so I don't give up." But well, you did give up. You ran in the safest seat possible. You didn't take on a fight. You're going back to the House of Commons as the guy who was shining the prettiest silver medal in Canadian electoral history, and then asked for a
Right.
mulligan, and then like phoned it in the safest and easiest writing because you could have a sure thing. And then you're sitting there like this, and and at the same time, out of that same mouth is we need to negotiate with the United States from a position of strength, says the guy who
Right.
picked the easiest fight possible to get a
Right. The
second chance.
irony. They don't. They don't.
They-
They don't get irony very well. They don't.
So yeah, you would think that there would be a little bit of humility. You think he would have gone in there and campaigned in Battle River Crowfoot the way that Franjoy campaigned in Carleton, right? Knock
Mhm.
on every door, talk to everyone, lay off the act, have the sincere conversation like this, actually show up to the town halls or those candidate forums and actually speak to things that people at the door actually said, rather than talking about
Right.
EV vehicle mandates, which I'm sure like 0.2% of the people whose doors knocked on said, yeah, this is my number one priority, the fact that I won't be able to buy a gas car in 2035, a new gas
Right.
car in 2035. Because it's not like the government is coming to like make
Right.
your gas cars evaporate in 2035 if you still got them. Right? There's still gonna be
I
those cars are there, and there's still gonna be a used car, for like, probably for the next 7 or 10 years before they are all gone. Like, you're fine, and, like, between now and 2045, we will have that chance to
Right.
build
You're fine.
some charging stations. You'll be fine, right? It's like, "Ah, this is happening now." Like,
Right.
so this is
Right.
not the priority. This is just what he
But
wanted to say all
again, I mean,
along.
the base. Right. But the base loves those issues, right? Like again, I don't know anymore. This world is so messed up. Like you don't know when when you're online at this point, you don't know if you're talking to a real person anymore, right?
Right,
Because there's so many times where you're trying to converse with somebody or there is a conversation going and it's just repeating of talking points
yep,
verbatim and I don't know like I and AI is so good at this point now, especially when it comes to bots. Like I don't know if I'm talking to real
right.
people anymore. So so but the way that they repeat like those kind of talking points verbatim, like well, we don't have the infrastructure to do it. Okay, so we build it.
We're in
That's
a
the point, right?
We're in a
Like I don't
whole build
understand.
Canada strong phase right now, if you
Right,
haven't noticed. We don't have it? Sure, okay, we'll build it.
right,
Add it to the list of
right.
projects of national importance. Let's go.
I got into a debate on TikTok with on a TikTok live one time, and a guy was saying, oh, solar is crap because after so many years you have to replace the panels, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and so what? What's your point? Like, do you think that they're using the original drill bits in Alberta for when they're drilling for oil? Like, of course,
Every few years, you need to replace your
infrastructure changes and
yeah.
equipment
Every
changes,
f
right? It was just again like sometimes the logic is just not there, and I just
they
don't
don't
understand.
it's because everything functions in a vacuum. Right? We're only gonna look at solar panels,
Right,
and we're only gonna look at the fact that how long solar panels last, and we're only gonna look at what the cost of replacing those are based on what we know now, because things never change in the future,
right,
everything is constant, right? And, because there will be no technological developments, or nobody will be able to produce them on a bigger scale or find a cheaper source of anything, right? Everything's just gonna stay as it is now, and everything's gonna be terrible,
right. No,
like
no,
this, and then they
never.
don't take that information and put it
Right,
in the real world. It's like, okay, yeah, well, if you're heating with solar, you're gonna have to replace those panels. Yeah, but you're gonna have to replace your furnace at some point too. It's
exactly, exactly. Like that was the exact argument that I made with the guy out because I previously in that conversation I bought a new stove like the week before, and I bought a gas stove, and I'm like, well, I just bought a new stove, so you're by your own logic, I should never have to buy another stove ever again, or I shouldn't have had to buy this one because we already had one.
who
Like,
approved
and then
those
they're
damn
like,
gas stoves? Ugh, they
oh,
didn't last
oh
forever.
yeah, right. Right, exactly. Um,
But
uh,
yeah, that's what I mean. It's but that's
but
the
yeah,
thing,
I
right?
mean,
And it's
this
it's it's the
whole week
same
has
thing
been
for
so
the
funny.
economic data and all that
Just
kind of
watching
stuff, right?
again. I don't think right,
Sorry.
and that's it. You know
Yeah.
what's funny? And another one because I'm chronically online with notifications, and I get. What's funny was last month's economic data and jobs and stuff like that, and they jumped all over that, right? Single bot, every single blue check influencer that we both know, they're all repeating the exact same thing. And I was like asking some of them, I'm like, so but the month before we far exceeded the job numbers, and you guys didn't say a word about that yet, completely ignored that, right? And I'm wondering why you ignored that. And it just moves on, right? Like they have a script, and a lot of these people, I think, like there has to be a network, an interconnected network, because these guys that are coming out with the exact immediately, like there is, there's, off the top of my head, there's 5 of these blue check influencers, the big ones, and they all come up with the exact same message right away, and then it spreads among the minions, right? But it's right away, and I think that there's got to be some coordination here, because there's no way that this is messaging, because they're saying the exact same thing at the exact same time, and that's something that I think that the government really should be thinking about, because it does work. It really does work, because they have the bot networks that, whether they have, it does, right? And unfortunately, like we're seeing it play out here. We saw it play out here, and we're seeing it how it's playing out in the United States as well too. So there has to be. I wish that there was some sort of. I hope that that's on the radar for the government. Really, honestly, that they start to crack down on that. That somehow that they put some sort of legislation in to combat this thing in some way. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm not an expert when it would come to that kind of legislation, but I really do hope that that's something that's on their radar that they can look out for, because it did, like it blew Trudeau up. It really did.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would agree with you there. But and you are right. That type of messaging is coordinated. I mean, if I'm a comms person, if I wanted to do that type of operation, you can bet that by 5 a.m. in the morning, here's what we're talking about today. Here are your basic lines. Here are your messages, and then there would be a whole cheat sheet of other messages for any other issues of the day that was there. It's like if somebody tries to bring on this example, then or divert the attended conversation to this place. Here's the line that you use then, or something. You'd have your standard go-to ones like this, and then your issues of the day that would come up like this. And yeah, you'd put it into your 5 to 15 major influencers or biggest ones like this, and then have them spread it out. And once Brian Lilly and Goldstein and all of them see them, then they know what to take and write their next editorial about, and then that goes, and then the influencers pick it up and say, oh my god, somebody destroyed him with this thing, and then that goes up, or because they always have it destroyed in large capital letters and like this, and then you watch it and you go like, that wasn't destroyed, that was just he just like literally stated what the law was. Okay. I mean, it was correction, and it's embarrassing that the person who apparently is making the law gets the long run, but somebody come around and says, no, that's not what the law says, isn't destroying someone, right? Oh my god,
and it is the typical,
it's click, right? So,
and it is the typical tactic. It is a typical tactic, because again, like, and my problem is I do fight on Twitter. Like I do go back and forth, and like I say, that's why I don't know a lot of the times if I'm talking with the bots, but I do go back and forth with them, and it's one of those things is where that imaginary victory that they always proclaim that they got, no matter what. It's the stupidest comment. Oh, I won, you lose, right? And it's just like, what are you talking about? I just don't understand it sometimes. I always have to laugh. And that's why I do that. Like I go back at them. Like I go back hard. Like I'm such a jerk on Twitter. I admit it. I fully admit it. Because I just I love fighting back with them at the same temperament that they have. And they can't handle it. They get so angry when you treat them the way that they treat others. It's so funny. Because like I'm not that person. I'm not that person in real life. Like that's not who I am. But on Twitter, like I'm a dick. I am. Like I'm a total dick, because if you come at me with the some sort of slur or whatever it is, I come back at you just as hard, if not harder. Like, I have no patience for you. I go for the jugular, and they don't get it. They don't
Mhm.
understand that I'm treating them the way that they're treating everybody else, right?
Mhm.
So it's funny to watch. But again, I'm probably fighting with some Russian dude in in Russia with 50 other people at the same time. So I don't know. Who knows? Whatever. But it's fun sometimes.
Oh man. So that by-election, right? There was a lot of stuff that was going on with Pierre like this, but we also saw Bonnie Critchley, and there was a bit.
Right.
It got a lot more attention than it should have by the opposition
Mhm.
that she put in, but also by the fact that it was like the first time, based on our conversations with a few candidates, that they actually had that much choice in there, because generally
Right.
there's the conservative one, and then there's a couple of like filler sort of candidates that show up, and then nothing much. But this time they, like,
Right.
even among the conservative side, there were 3 or 4 or 5 different views that people could go to. Now 80% still went to Pierre
Yeah.
in that rating, or to the Conservative Party.
I
But
think
what
that
did you think about
there
the
is
way?
some rational.
Yeah,
No, sorry,
keep
I
going with that.
interrupted you. No, I think that there are some rational conservatives within that writing that recognize that Pierre was just using them, right? And then I think that that did ruffle feathers. Unfortunately, he still made it through, because that was the point of going to that riding, right? Like,
Right,
that riding would have voted for Pierre no matter what. In the end, and I think Bonnie even knew that as well too. I don't think she was going for an actual win. I don't think that she had any kind of real thought of her winning. But in the sense of eating that margin up to make a statement, I think that was her intent, and I think that it did make waves. I think had that longest ballot thing not happened there, which made it so much worse,
right.
I think if Bonnie was there on her own, maybe one other, two other candidates or whatever it was, if it was just a normal um, election, I do think she would have ate a way bigger a part of his margin. I do think she would have done better. But I do think the longest ballot, whatever their intention is, because I just don't get it. I think,
Yeah,
whatever their thing is. But I do think that it actually worked against them in this one. I think it actually galvanized a little bit more towards Pierre, because there was that they played victim, of course, right? Because
right.
the Conservative Party are always victims. So when they
Yes,
played that victim card, I think that helped Pierre in that sense,
yes,
because he was crying about it for 2 weeks, right?
yes.
So
They're doing this to me. I can't believe this. They did it to me at Carlton, and they're doing it to me here. Yeah, they also did
right,
it like 11 times
exactly.
before previous to that, which you didn't say anything, but okay.
Right, right. Oh,
Right?
they did. And isn't that the irony of that? Because they loved it. They celebrated St. Paul's. They
Oh, yes.
celebrated Montreal. Right? They
Yes, they
loved
did.
it. Oh, Trudeau's going down. No problem there whatsoever. And then it happens to him. He's like, oh, no, how can you take it?
I love it when you do that. All right.
But it's true.
Uh,
That's the way it was. The victim,
I
the never-ending victim mentality of conservatives. Like I say, when they dish it and dish it and dish it, and then they get the small little back, and they're like, oh, the meltdown begins.
I don't see. Here's the thing about this movement that I don't understand. Now, listen, when I say here's the thing about this movement I don't understand, there's a caveat under that, that you have to believe that there's something understandable about what's going
Right,
on, and that is not,
right,
like, in a direct sense, and that's not what is there's going on. There's something understandable in that there is a strategy, right? Like the public square in which we all gather, so unpleasant to be in that all of us just get exasperated. We go home, and then when the cats are away, the mice will play, right? That's the
right.
whole point there, to get us to check out. And if we check out, and if we don't follow, and we don't vote, then only they vote, and then they get to live in the world that they fabricated up here and try to make it real, right? And it's like,
Right.
and then unfortunately, the rest of us have to try to live in that world that they're trying to fabricate for us. because then it's just it's not a good world. So
Right.
I mean, and everything is geared to that, and it's never let anything whatsoever distract you from the primary objective is to try to establish that world. So logic does not matter.
Right.
Facts do not matter. Your appeals to emotion based on compassion or empathy, or being a good community member, or all those values that we're allegedly raised with. Because none of that matter. It's
Right.
win every single moment, win every single nanosecond. Doesn't matter if what you say to win this nanosecond is complete opposite of what you have to say to win the next nanosecond. Don't care what you look like. You have to be completely shameless. You don't have to care about how stupid you look as you're saying things, because if people bring something up that you said 3 weeks ago that completely contradicts what you're saying now, that never
Right.
happened. You got it all wrong. Can't you take a joke? All those things, right? It's just this big blob of, and by now we've seen this game that we know what's coming, right?
Right.
You can actually write something like this. Um, we control them like they troll us, in the sense that we
Right.
can write something like this that we know for sure is bait. I mean, you just post "I love Taylor
Right.
Swift" and watch what's going to happen, right?
Right.
But, like this, and
Right.
you want engagement? Like this, Taylor Swift is the
Right.
most genius artist that's ever lived in history. And then watch it all come out. You'll get
Yes.
engagement. Trust me. Right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
this. And they do it too, right? They write something like this and then they try to like find a way to add the words Taylor Swift into it so that they can get, whether she has anything to do with it or not, so that they can get the engagement. They'll find
Right.
someone like you and me, like this, who, like, we don't have millions of followers, but we have a
Right.
small amount of followers. And I look at them and it's
Mhm.
like, okay, me with my like 4,300 or whatever, all that,
Yeah.
those multitudes that I come with, like this, and then I look at them and it's like, oh,
You know
you've
what
got
though? You know what's funny
212.
is
Right? So they're like,
you
"Okay,
know
I've got more followers than you, so now you're coming on my page and you're trying to stunt to try to engage in a mindless fight with me so that all your followers can see that, and then my followers can see like this, and maybe they decide to hate follow you, whatnot, and you boost your numbers." It's like, "No, sorry, dude, I'm working really hard on my corner here when I'm hiking up my skirt and trying to get people to, like, follow
right.
me." It's like, I don't need you riding on my coattails and dragging me down. That's gonna be an instant block for you. But it's like, I see, like, it's
Right.
like the only
Right.
reason you're attacking me is because I got more followers than you. Right? So,
You know what's
th
funny?
th
I've gotten
and
into
that's why they
arguments
include those
with
names, right? They drop those names for the
yeah.
same reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's
Sorry.
funny? There's some accounts that are on Twitter that I've gotten into engagements back and forth with that have like a huge amount of followers.
Mhm.
20,000, so on and so forth.
Yep.
And what's funny is that I will get more engagement with my posts than they will. So what that tells
Right.
me is a lot of their followers inflated with bots because they don't get the engagement despite having doesn't make sense, right? So,
Right.
and again, that comes
Right.
down to the whole thing where we are being manipulated by the powers that be that own these apps. We really are. If you're not seeing that, I mean, and I don't mean you specifically, but I mean the
Right.
general public. They are absolutely framing and controlling the message on TikTok. Um, anytime I make a video about Donald Trump, it gets shadow banned. 100%. You can see it in my views. So like I'll have, and I'm not like a massive, account on TikTok either. I have a fairly decent following. Um, and on average, I'll say I get, anywhere between 8 to 10,000 views on a video. Okay. If I talk about Trump, it's barely 1,000 views, barely,
Hmm.
because they 100% suppress it. It is, you can see it. It's not something. It's not a conspiracy. It's like, and I've had other huge creators tell me the exact same thing too. Like even some friends from the United States where they say they can't talk about this stuff anymore because their message is 100% being suppressed.
Hmm.
And
Huh.
it's because the powers own it. It really is. It's not a conspiracy. I don't want to come across as a conspiracy theorist, but
Yeah.
when you're looking at the numbers, right, you can see that there is something that's actually happening there.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, like, we might have been experiencing a little bit of it too, because over the last few weeks, we've done 2 episodes that specifically talk about Pierre, I think. Um,
Mm.
and they did significantly better than the episode that we did about Trump's meeting with Putin. Yes, and with which
Right.
one with one with Trump meetings with Putin, we even even had like a snazzy title, "Disaster in Alaska." I guess we thought, okay, that will get like some people clicking, and it didn't happen like at all, right?
Right.
It's like
Right.
it didn't even break our average views for a show.
Right.
And then yesterday I did one just like this. I don't know what to tell this thing. Just call it data dump. So like before it's like more than twice the view. It's like really like this the title data dump gets twice as many viewers as disaster in
Right.
Alaska when everybody's been talking about
Right.
Alaska and the data that I'm about
Right.
to talk about. Like I haven't even specified what data I'm going to talk about. Really?
Yeah. And
So
you could see it. Like,
you
honestly,
got to
it's
wonder.
not something it's yeah, you have to wonder. Like when when it's well, once is a twice is a coincidence, three times, oh, something.
Yeah.
But when it's a continuous thing, like there's something that needs to be looked at there because you could tell. And again, these blue check influencers that Pierre was calling, after the election
Yes.
loss, that he's thanking them for
Yes.
their support. These guys, again, these are guys that have huge following. And I mean, there's a couple of accounts that just started up and you blink an eye and all of a sudden they have 30,000 followers. And that's just not the way social media works. We know it. We both know it. It takes a long time to organically build a following base where it's a legitimate following. And all of a sudden
You're
these
telling me,
guys,
man.
like within a matter of weeks, have tens of thousands of followers. It's just not real. It's not legitimate in my view.
I well, that's what I was like, we haven't done a daily show every day since we started, right? We started as once a week, but it's been a while now that we're doing 5 days a week. Like
Right.
in the since we started doing 5 days a week, we've missed one episode
Right.
because tech gods just were not having it that
Okay.
day. That's it. Statutory holiday or not, right? It was like we're out there, we're putting one out, and you would think even summer when other shows like take a hiatus or a break or show reruns like this, we're like offering fresh content. Right?
Right.
It's like, and we're like what 4 years and like 3 months or something now. It's like
Hmm.
so you just popped up. You've been at it like for 15 minutes, and you got more followers than we picked up in 4 years. Really? By putting out content every single damn day? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
That's what I
bullshit.
mean. It's like if you
It
know how
really
social
is.
media works, it's hard work. It takes a long time. That first 1,000 takes forever.
Right. Right.
But it
Right.
and then the more you get, the faster it gets, right? Because it's like that commercial. I don't know if you remember it back in the day there, but for I think it was like Herbal Organics shampoo. It's like, and you tell two friends, and
Yes.
they tell two friends, and so
Yes.
on and so on and so on, right? It's like at some point, then
Yeah.
you get that hockey stick effect on the graph as you get more people and they see
Right.
more, because they share your stuff
It
and
does.
then all their networks see your stuff and then it grows. But that first bit takes forever. It is painful. I mean, I think it
Right.
took us 2 years
It
to get the
does.
first
Yeah,
1,000.
it does. And
Right.
like I say, and for some people to have it would happen with like just like that, it's just not real. It's just not. And that's what I was saying before, right? Like where I've engaged with some of these accounts on Twitter where they have like 25,000 and me lowly, I had to start over because I got into a fight with somebody that couldn't take
Did
it.
your mouth
So
get
I
you
had
in
to start
trouble?
over. Yeah, it did. But it was ironic, right? Like and I don't care. Like I don't care. Like I enjoyed it. So whatever. Screw you.
It was worth
Screw
it.
you to the person that reported me. The funny thing was is that the person was harassing me, like legitimately harassing me on my post on my thread, and like they reported me for harassment, and Twitter like took away my account. I'm like, what are you talking? Can you look? Like, what are you looking at here, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so, but again, it's one of those things where those huge accounts, and again, now I only have 1,000 followers on my account. Way more engagement with a single post than some of these accounts that have 50, go look through their timelines, and you see like 1, 2, 3, and you have 50,000 followers. You have 50,000 followers, and you're only getting 2, maybe 20 likes on a post. That's not mathing, right? So something is wrong there. So those numbers are inflated, which again, so you have that huge number, and you don't have any actual followers. You have zero engagement with your posts, and that is like, so you're all about the number and not about actually the engagement in the process. It's so weird.
Yeah, indeed. All right. As you were talking about earlier as well, given what's been happening over the summer, we've been seeing Prime Minister Mark Carney do his thing. We've been seeing the team of ministers go fanning out, going to different places, particular different industries, but a lot of engagement with different countries. The summer has been probably more about foreign affairs in certain ways that will impact domestic affairs than directly dealing with domestic issues. There hasn't been that much on crime. There hasn't been that much on housing. There hasn't been that much on affordability for everyday Canadians. Even the supports announced in the context of the tariffs have been more for industry and for retraining workers, but not actual supports for workers. There's been some talk about the government not really being too engaged with increasing signing additional pharmacare deals with other provinces than the ones who have already signed. So we have two things, right? If we're talking about setting up Canada and reorienting Canada and changing our economy, the big promise that was kind of made, there's been a lot of activity on the things that remain that are irritants and that will remain an irritant so long as they are not addressed, and things we might not be paying as much attention to at the moment because we're doing the whole economic thing. And again, I understand that, right? That was the big promise, and a lot of these things, you got to lay a lot of groundwork before some shovels can get into the ground. So, it's going to be heavy on that part. But what is your assessment so far? And what are certain moves that you've seen that you've particularly liked and said, you know what, hey, that's pretty smart?
Oh no, you said it right. Like, I do think that we need to transition away narrative. I think with what's happening down there, that has to be the number one focus. We know Asia and so forth, to when 90, what is it, 80-70% of our entire aid goes to the United States. That's a problem, and we absolutely, that has to be the focus, because Trump is turning everything up on its heel, right? Hope that somebody rational is going to come in next there, where they're going to be a normal country. Just don't see that. Here's the other side of that as well too, because you did mention the pharmacare and so on and so forth. At some point, and that I talk about this a lot, at some point we need to put the responsibility back onto the premiers to do their job instead of focusing on everything that the federal government does, because we do have 3 levels of government, right? And the municipal governments and the provincial governments always get a pass on everything, when our day-to-day lives are impacted way more by the provincial and municipal governments than the federal government, right? So at some point, and I've been screaming it for years, I wish the media would really at least look at Doug Ford, and we're both in on. The guy has a massive approval number right now, per polling. Understand how he could possibly be polling is I understand, because both of the NDP and the Liberals are just flailing. They need new leadership. They need to re-energize both of their parties. However, with the state of what Doug Ford is doing and the massive screw ups that are happening within healthcare, education, infrastructure, and yet somehow, because the media doesn't focus on it, right? The media they were focusing on Trudeau, and now they're focusing on Pierre and Carney. And they don't focus on where we actually are impacted on our day-to-day lives. They get a free pass And it's something that drives me absolutely bonkers. Like, I don't see the intensity of stories coming out about, Ford's mishaps, or or any of them, any other of them. It's like there's a headline and then it disappears, right? So they talk about it, so they say, hey, we put this out there, but there's not that intense focus that there is on any other thing. Like with Trudeau, it was like, there was, if it was one story, you got beat down with that one story by multiple outlets, multiple hours a day, every day you would get beat down with that one story. Whereas, and now these premieres are just sliding under the radar because they don't get the focus that they should be getting on by the media, and it drives me bonkers.
Yeah, I'm with you because we've been saying this on the program for a long time. We even tried to get a hashtag going, our premiers are the problem, right? But
Yeah.
with Doug Ford, I'm sitting there with you too, right? Like I'm sitting there and I'm watching everything and I'm thinking, my God, with all the stuff he has done, seriously, is there not enough out there to make some type of file or some type of strategy or campaign to just destroy this guy, right?
You
And
would think so. I
right?
think it is. I could put a list together that would be like, why isn't the NDP saying this? Why isn't the
Yes,
Liberals saying this, and this?
right.
Right? Like I could do it, I easily, but they don't
Yeah.
do it.
I know, and I don't understand it. But the other thing that Doug Ford keeps doing like this, and when you add it to the fact that the opposition that is being presented, that we're being offered is just completely lackluster and uninspiring. Um, but it's stuff like this. I'm gonna show you just a tiny, tiny little clip. Uh, and this is the stuff I think because it gets a lot of traction and lots of coverage that have people still somewhat in Doug Ford's camp a little bit.
If there's a deal, another USMCA deal, which I don't think is going to happen for the next few months, but you never know with President Trump. He could pull the carpet out from underneath us in a heartbeat like he has before, or they get rid of their tariffs, and then we'll bring the booze back into the LCBO. And if they don't, then they aren't getting any booze on our shelves.
So that's the kind of stuff, at the same time as he's killing your healthcare and not funding post-secondary education and making sure
Right.
and creating situations and such that foster kids have to stay in bedbug infested motels and without proper adult supervision and all that type of stuff that's going on. We have a measles outbreak and all that kind of stuff. Like this, when it comes to issues like this, he put on that Captain Canada hat at one point, and he keeps on there's hardly any Ontarians that are going to hear this and say, especially if you saw the interview or that the distilleries guy had here in Canada on Power and Politics, where it's just, oh my God, girl, please. It's like what we need to do is, American have a glass of Canadian whiskey, and you guys have a glass of American whiskey, and we need more toasting. It's like, no, we need the
Right.
motherfucker south of us
No,
to
we need
stop
you to
talking
shut the
about
fuck up. Fuck
annexing us is
off.
what we need. Both have great countries and whatnot like this. And I'm sure he's a nice guy and trying to put a nice spin on it, and says he's been working with the Canadian distillers like this, and they are one on this and all that kind of stuff. But our industry should be exempt. Why? What's so special about you?
Yeah. Fuck you. Fuck
Exactly.
you. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
sorry, pardon my French, but yeah, eat shit. Like, fuck off.
Uh, because
No.
but you have that guy coming over across the border saying, we should be exempt, we should all be working together, and I know that there are emotions involved, but like this, and then you got Doug Ford saying, well, I don't know, you can say it all you want, but there's not going to be any fucking booze on our shelves.
Right.
And that's the kind of stuff that gets people to go, hey, fuck, I'm going to vote for this guy. Right? And he
Right.
does,
But
and as
again,
dumb as he does have that survival instinct that Danny and Blaine Higgs didn't have, where they're running straight into a brick wall and somebody goes, we don't like you doing that. I don't care what you're saying, la la la, and they just run face first into that brick wall. Whereas Doug Ford will turn around
right.
and go, oh well, I goofed up here, I'm sorry, like this, and then he just tries to find another way to do the same thing he was planning to do anyway, and people don't seem to catch on to
Right.
that. But because he has the big
Right.
mea culpa moment, and then everybody gets on, that goes all over the place. And so, well, well, he bumbles it, but at least his heart's in the right place. And he gets so
Right.
much mileage on that. And it's like, yes, his heart might be in the right place on certain things. And you know what? Sometimes it's good to have a thug in your corner like this. And when it comes to the Trump stuff for certain things, we've got a thug in our corner. But my
Yeah.
God, it's like, how many times does he have to promise not to touch the green belt and then try to touch the green belt in 75,000 other different ways before you start to get it
Right.
that Doug Ford promise doesn't
Right.
mean anything?
Right. Yeah, but again, they use the sound bites, and then, like I say to you, they don't focus. There's a great sound bite. Oh, well, your booze is not coming on our shelves, burp, 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 right? And then that's what they focus on instead of hi, healthcare. People are dying waiting for healthcare, and that's your job. I don't understand. I've been freaking out about this for years now, and I don't understand why the media doesn't hold these guys like it's like again. I'm sure Doug is a good guy. Like I'm sure he's genuinely like a nice guy that you probably want to have a beer with. He does, have that personality where I think he's probably nice. But he's shit at his job, and I think at some point we need to you know, hold him accountable for his job,
Right.
right? I don't know. That's just me, but
This is his report card. Like, nice kid. Sucks.
yes, exactly.
Not a
Like,
particular,
okay, you're
not
good. You're a nice
not
guy.
particularly studious, but nice kid. Cleans up after himself sometimes.
Right,
Right.
right.
And then-
That's it. Like, I don't get it. I mean, and the other thing is too. Like, here's the thing. Wait, the media focus on which especially with it kind of already started with Carney as well too. If Trudeau went on a vacation for a week, right? That was the entire week that he was gone on vacation. Uh, that was the story, right? Like 15 different pundits are talking about him on vacation, right? Meanwhile, I mean, what is the Ontario legislature sat for this year? A week? I don't know. Like it's
I've got too
something
many
something
fingers.
like stupid like that. Right. Right. And it's like nobody says anything. Nobody points that out. It boggles my mind. I don't understand. When you have a legislature that is off more than they're passing legislation, there's a problem there, and media should be focusing on that. But again, he has the well, we're not putting the booze on the shelf, and then that's it. Then they're like, okay, bye, Doug. Have a good day. Enjoy the cottage. Right.
And here's the other one on that got me the other day was when Doug Ford says, I'm going to meet with Mark Carney and ask him to lower tariffs like this, and then complaining Trump style about the interest rates. It's like, dude, and media, the guy who's complaining happens to run the second largest government in the entire country with the second largest budget in the entire country. He could offer a tax cut.
Right.
Right? It's like,
Right.
and guys, he's a provincial premier. He doesn't set monetary policy.
Right.
It's like, just say it.
Basic civics.
It's like
Basic
if you want a
civics.
tax
Again,
cut
that's our
so
biggest
bad,
problem.
give
Yes.
one. Don't ask
Yeah.
Carney to do it for you. You control a budget.
Well, I mean,
you run a government. How
well,
about
here's
you
the
be
thing.
the change you're
Where-
looking for?
Here's the thing, like the federal government has actually been lowering our income taxes, and they've been lowering our taxes. Where's our tax increases coming from? From property taxes, right? Provincial taxes. All the stuff that we're getting increase in taxes are on the provincial level. And again, nobody's saying this. I don't understand why. It makes no sense.
Okay. Another topic I want to get to you with, because kids are talking about it. As you know, we're going to have an NDP leadership race coming
Right.
along. And
Yep.
well, the NDP is in an interesting position. at the moment in the polls, and also just with what's going on the political chessboard. They're kind of being squeezed out a little bit based on the narrative of the day.
Hmm.
I had a feeling based on pronouncements and what I've been seeing going on Twitter that at least Heather McPherson and Avi Lewis, there's a couple of tweets from Avi Lewis that I've been seeing over the past couple of months. I'm going, oh God, he's so running based on them. And now there's some
Right.
buzz coming out. There's some news reports saying that those are the two names that are coming out so far as potential candidates. I'm not sure if there's any
Hmm.
others. Um, what do you think? I have some thoughts on like what the NDP sort of needs to do, or where it needs to go if we don't want to become a two-party system, which I really don't want to become a two-party system, because I've seen other places and it doesn't really work out well for them, and it's not good for the public discourse also because you
Okay.
have one.
I'm going to disagree with
Okay.
you there.
Well, I don't like a two-party system because you have somebody go it just reduces politics to "You're a duty head. No, you're the duty head. No, you're the duty head," and there's no one that comes up in the middle
I,
and says, "They're both duty heads. Listen over here." Right? So
right.
I
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
because it just makes things too simple. It's just yes or no, and there's nobody that says, well, there's some gray in the middle," if you would like to talk about that.
No, I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. Yeah. Here's my point of view is I would be okay with a two-party system for a temporary future, for the temporary foreseeable future. Just because uh, the way that I think we're essentially a two-party system right now anyway.
Yeah, well,
Whether it's not
right.
official, but I do think we are. And so here's my thing. I think looking at and again, this is just my opinion. I know that I have a lot of friends that are supporters of the NDP, and they will definitely vehemently disagree with me on this, and that's fine. But I do think that despite what happened at the end of the Trudeau's term, I think the NDP and the Liberals worked well together in the previous
Right.
government to get some big stuff passed. However, as soon as shit hit the fan, you know what? Then it was just like, oh well, we don't need each other anymore, and then everything went to shit. So I'm okay with a two-party system right now until we can exile all the current status of conservatism, right? Like until we can get the Pierre Polyev core base out of the Conservative
Right.
Party, I would be okay with a two-party system in that
Gotcha.
regard,
Yes.
right? Because right now, as it stands, the Liberals and the NDP kind of take from each other, and what happens is, they split the vote, and a conservative gets it. Like I'm living in a conservative riding right
Right.
now, simply because a small amount of people decided to vote for an NDP candidate that didn't even campaign a
Right.
second, right? And those 5,000 votes got me a conservative riding, right? So that annoys me right now. So that's the only thing that I would say. Let's get rid of this current iteration of conservatism that is essentially leading us towards fascism. Not maybe so much here, but definitely in the States. And it's only a matter of time before that translates over into our country as well. So I would be okay with a two-party system in the foreseeable future. And I'm not saying, well, maybe here. How about this? How about in Ontario, specifically in Ontario? If we could get the Ontario Liberals and the NDP to actually work
Mm,
together instead of fighting each other and then having Doug Ford win, right? Like that's where I just wish that they would. It, when they worked together under Trudeau's government, they worked well. They got meaningful
right.
legislation passed. I wish they would do that come election time. Like let's work together and get the most amount of progressive uh, seats that we possibly can without backstabbing
Right.
each other. That would be my
Okay,
idea.
I could see that. When I agree with you, when they were working together, things were working well. The way it fell apart was just kind of weird, and I'm not quite sure what if there was any strategy into what Jagmeet Singh was doing when he did what he did.
I Jagmeet. Like again, Jagmeet's another one, right? Like Jagmeet's a real. I like the guy as a
Right.
person. I genuinely think that he's a good guy, and I would love to have a night out and have a beer with him. I think that would be fantastic. As a politician, I did not like him at all. I felt like he was an opportunist, and that really came out when Trudeau was shown the
Yeah.
door. That part really irritated me. And it was, and again, you see my
Oh
videos.
yeah.
I've been calling him out for years as well too, for that reason, is too, for blurring the same kind of lines that the conservatives do, and that really irritated me because he's smarter
Yes.
than that and he knows it, but he played the politics, and that's what
Yeah.
annoyed
The thing that bothered me was, once the measures were done, was the sheer inability to take credit whatsoever, right? And it's like, we did
me. Right.
this alone, and oh my God, we had to work so hard to get them to agree. They didn't want to do it, but we forced them, we made them, we did it like this. And
Right.
it's like none of that happened, right? There was no parade of liberal ministers running to the cameras every day saying, well, the NBC NDP wants to do this, and they made this a condition of our supply agreement, but my God, they're just pushing too hard. Like, this is one bridge too far. We can't do this. We can't. There was never any of that whatsoever like this. And so they were coming up and saying
Right.
like this, they don't want to do it. We have to make them. It's like, look, nobody's opposing. We're not hearing any opposition, like anywhere from
Right.
within the ranks. It
Right.
might be taking a little time or whatnot, but it's like nobody's saying no. Nobody's coming up to the mic saying we've given up on this. Nobody's saying no, that was a stupid idea. We don't know why we agreed to that ever in the first place. Like, none of this happened. So just this inability. It just seems to me that
Right.
had they bought into the fact of cooperation like this and put it out there, this they could have sold themselves as like this. You guys want Parliament to work? We're the party that will make Parliament work and run on that, right? And not run on it's
Right.
like you need to elect us to replace the Liberals. It's like you're getting your agenda through.
Right. Right, and that was it, right? Like it was essentially a political backstabbing, right? And that's something I think that in the end, I mean, it obviously did. It worked against
Oh
Jagmeet
yeah.
pretty badly. Now, there was a multifaceted reason that Jagmeet ended up where
Yes.
he is, but that was a key factor too, because he didn't present himself as a guy that was reliable to work with. He did come across as an opportunist, and I think in the end that's what cost
I
him his
know,
seat
and
as
that's
well
I
too.
just couldn't understand. It's like, you've done all this work to negotiate this agreement. You invested so much political capital in it. Go all the way with it. Like this, and they started to get the
Right,
achievements, and then he's started to pull back. It's like, well, we have to look like we're an independent party. That's not a vassal party. It's like, you're getting your policy through. That's what
well,
matters.
here's
It's
the
the
thing, like I get
results.
it too, right, but the problem is that these guys are, some of their comms are terminally online, right? So
Mm,
when the tide was turning for Trudeau, in the sense that because he got hammered on
right.
social media, right? Like that was the thing, and whether it's legitimate or not is irrelevant at this point. But he lost his popularity because there was a constant message just getting hammered. Like you say, it didn't matter what he did. He woke up in the morning and a couple of strands of hair were out of place. That was the story, and he would get hammered on it. And Jagmeet fell into that trap where he's like, okay, well, I can't be politically associated with this guy anymore, despite the fact that we are getting meaningful legislation passed. I can't be associated with him because he's so deeply unpopular. So I'm going to pretend that I'm not a guy. And it just didn't work because you were associated with him. You
Yeah.
did pass this stuff. And
Yes.
the prop line, it really hurt him in the end too, because running with that instead of owning it and saying, hey, we it wasn't proper. Okay, well, screw it. Trudeau's done so as well, right? And that doesn't a good amount of character either.
Mm. Yeah.
I kind
Unfortunately, with this, the
of
delays is chopping up what you're saying, unfortunately. So we're not able to catch all of it, but I think I
yeah,
got
I
the
know.
overall gist of that over there. What I'm looking for when it comes to the leadership race, my main fear from the NDP is that um, the NDP is always notable for two issues, traditionally at least: the focus on working Canadians on the whole union aspect, which, there's some shifts going on with the Conservative Party because they seem to be wanting to get that particular demographic, and then all the things that get mocked as social justice warrior issues. Yeah. Which are very, very important when we're talking about rights, but typically don't affect a mainstream of the Canadian population, or things that don't necessarily put food on their table. So, for example, the trans rights issue, which I'm very supportive of, obviously, as being a member of the rainbow community, it's like, and I want to see things done right. I'm also a realist, and like, there's no votes in that. Right? It affects so few people. It's not a voting issue. It's not somebody will turn around at the end of the day and said, "Well, the economy sucks, but they did right about by trans people, so I'm gonna vote for them." The votes don't swing that way, right? Um, on the issue of, Palestine, what's going on there, if that becomes some type of litmus test that you have to pass this litmus test, this purity test on this issue before you can speak to any other issues that affect Canadians in their daily life, before you can talk about their work hours and affordability and grocery prices and farmer care and all that kind of stuff. Um, that might be a barrier for a lot of people. There's a lot of people who don't like what's going on over there, but would still like for their political parties to put their issues first and for them to speak to those. There's the whole section on affordability. Um, we know that grocers are not going to lower prices if it's a voluntary thing that they get together. Uh, we know that there's probably no appetite for nationalizing grocery stores. So it's probably a waste of time campaigning on your ability to reduce grocery prices. To be totally honest, you probably have to campaign on something else, like increasing supports for people so that they can afford more expensive groceries, because you're probably not going to be working on the price point, right? So the NDP, I keep on finding, like, is either focusing, if there's a supply or demand issue, they're focusing on supply when they should be focusing on demand, or vice versa. They're focusing on issues that are very emotionally engaging, such as Gaza and Palestine, but are probably not the number one issue of the majority of Canadians like this. And they focus on a lot of social justice issues, which again are very important. But if people are wondering if they're going to have a job, if they're going to be able to pay rent, those are not their primary concerns. So I'm, and I find that if an NDP is going to be successful, it needs to get back to those basic core fundamental messages that will speak to vast numbers of people. And unfortunately, though the other issues are important, uh, and they need to have them in their platform, they might not be at an advantage to be talking about them and drawing a lot of attention to them. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I lost you. I lost connection there for a few minutes. So you went on to a big thing, but I finally
Oh,
reconnected. But I did catch the end of it. But you're right. I caught the end. I got the gist of what you said. I don't think, with the state of the world right now, I don't think social issues are front and center the way that they should be. I think everyone's looking at the global fallout of Russia and Trump and everything like that. And I think everyone is more focused on that rather than those issues. I don't know what the answer is, truthfully, because I don't know how the NDP plays into that, because I don't think that they have anyone that can sit on the world stage that would make an impact. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm not an NDP supporter, so I don't know if they have a bench um, that would be able to step up in this regard in today's world, because of how focus is on geopolitics rather than internal politics. So I don't know. Like, again, you think the NDP is more of an internal politics party, like, they are the supposed worker party, and focused on
right.
more internal issues. And I don't know how they transition that to the federal side. I truly don't. I don't know. I'm just not an expert with the NDP. I don't know enough of their core base, or their core candidates that would be able to step up. I don't see anybody that would step up to be the Carney, or have the personality to step up to to Polyev. Like, I think Jagmeet was the best in that regard at the time, and it didn't work
Right.
out for him in that way. So I don't know. I truly don't know.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not.
Sorry.
No, but that's okay because I'm not seeing a path unless they start engaging into some economic populism from the left. That there's and focus
Right.
strictly on that. I don't see where there's any room on the political chessboard at the moment for them to occupy more space.
At the moment, and that's it specifically. Like, until the world settles down a little bit, then we can focus more on the internal Canada and working on that. But I don't think that that's going to be the focus of anybody right now, because there's always something happening. Like, Trump is stealing the oxygen out of anything outside of anything else, and Russia. Like, those are the focuses, and then everything branches off of that. So it's a vacuum right now where geopolitics is the center rather than internal.
That's a good way to put it, actually. That's a really good way to put it. Okay. Um, Another issue I wanted your opinion on. It went by rather quickly because it could have been more prolonged, but was that the potential strike from the flight attendants from Air Canada.
Right.
It seemed
I was
that
away. I was on vacation at the time too. So
Ooh, okay.
yeah.
It seems that most Canadians weren't aware that they weren't being paid for pre-boarding and post-flight activities, and that
Right.
caught the attention of a lot of people. Um, and then we had Air Canada try to do the usual thing that the employer does in this situation, was to try to lead a PR campaign to vilify the workers, which really didn't work because initial polling was showing that 84% of Canadians just couldn't understand how they could expect people to work for no pay. And it's like, this is just not going to happen. And they're not going to win that war. Now, the federal government did call in the CIRB, the Canada Industrial Relations Board, to order a back to work thing.
Yeah.
Now, as we mentioned on our show, which didn't quite get out, is that the CIRB didn't back their motion with legal status. They didn't say, if you don't do it,
Right.
we will take this to court and force it to you, which then created an opening for the union to say, well, fuck no, we're not going to go back to work. And then the federal
Right.
government
Right.
at the same time announced, oh, by the way, we're going to do an internal probe on your paying practices. And I guess Air Canada didn't want that. I'm sure it's still happening anyway, but didn't want that to be the public focus anymore. So all of a sudden, they both found themselves at a negotiating table. And well, look at that, this deal that we weren't able to get negotiated for well over a year. We just happen to have one.
Right.
Imagine how the
Right.
threat of a probe and a back to work order that doesn't strategically, for some reason, have the legal thing behind it, allowing the union to defy. And well, we certainly don't want other unions to get that idea now, do we? Can sort of
Right.
focus the employer's mind. So at first, when I
Well,
saw
and that's
the
it, right?
order,
And it
I was
worked.
freaking out like
Yeah.
this. And then I heard those two tiny other little details that didn't get a lot of press. And I said, well, isn't that fucking clever?
Right.
Right?
Right.
But that's understanding how a system works and pulling a lever here and pulling
Again,
a lever there
yeah.
and pulling
Yeah.
and like this and just setting up three dominoes and just pressing the first one. Okay, now let's see how they dance once you do that, which I think is very, very smart.
Right.
But the main
Right.
narrative was those big bad
Very.
liberals going
Yeah.
to the CIRB and focusing. And the NDP didn't really jump on it all that much, which was
Yeah.
really interesting either. I mean, they did, but not as much, again, like, because that's an issue that was just like made for them. Like when Jagmeet Singh was looking for a way out of that agreement, when they ordered people back to work back then around Christmas time, that
Right.
was the one he should have jumped on and says, like, "Listen, we can't abide by this.
Yeah.
We're leaving the agreement." But he didn't do that then. And then when he said, "Well, we just don't believe in it anymore," or like this, the liberals never follow through. We're like, it's like, oh, come on, dude. Right? Like at least had he gone
Right.
on like the back to
Again, but
work
see,
thing, it was a traditional NDP issue.
yeah. But it's a catch-22 for the government, right? So
Right.
here's the deal. Like, overall was very much on the side of the flight attendants, right? Because why should they not get paid for when they're at work, right? Absolutely, everyone agrees with that. However, we are also genuinely selfish society, and as soon as that would affect, somebody who's on a plane, that sympathy goes right out the window, right? So it doesn't matter how the government reacts to this. It's buddy off. It doesn't matter, right? So I understand, like, what I sympathize with the flight attendants, and I absolutely want them to get what they deserve. I also understand that the government has a responsibility to kind of step in here and not create absolute chaos in the middle of the summer when everybody's taking vacations and
Right.
stuck abroad and all that kind of stuff, right? Like how do you navigate that? And I think they did it perfectly. Whether they got that backlash or not, it ended up working. It ended up forcing the two parties to come to a tentative agreement, right? Like it literally did. So what they did works. So I can't begrudge the government something that they absolutely had to get involved with regardless.
Hmm. Yep. Okay, I could see that. And when I've been listening to people talk about that too, the sort of common thing is um, these types of decisions when there's a labor disruption that can very um, have a very sharp and instant impact on the economy is a situation that nobody in politics envies another person in politics having to deal with, because it is a can't win
Right.
situation going into it.
Right.
So yeah, the same thing. I think they
Yeah.
did the best they could with the tools that they had, and it did get resolved in 48 hours ultimately after the issue, the order being issued.
Right.
So you know, yeah, because
Mhm.
that had that dragged on, that would have created quite an opening for quite a while.
Oh yeah, yeah. It would have been brutal if they were still on strike right now. I mean, in absolute chaos at the end of summer, that kind of thing, where
Yep.
some people do want to get away in the last, before school starts or whatever it is,
Right.
at this time of the year. And it's the same thing that happened with the Canada Post at Christmas, is right too. Like the government had to do it. Like it's a strategic strike, right? Like they're doing it at a time where it has
Yeah.
maximum impact, and they know it as well, right?
Yep.
So they have to act in some sort of way. Like I say, I mean, I'm not a negotiator. I'm kind of a blunt, beat you over the head with my opinion kind of guy. But I mean, like that subtle tactic of those little maneuvers that they can use, it works. So I mean, I can't begrudge anybody. Like I say, when it comes to politics, everybody can grandstand and say, "Well, I would have done this, and I would have done that, and I would have done this." But in the end, I mean, the outcome is all that matters, right? And the fact is that they came to some sort of agreement, and people's lives weren't impacted as harshly as they could, and that's a win-win either way.
Yep. Okay. The other one I would like your point of view on, and because I don't know how much you can speak to this, but just wondering, um, when they passed Bill C5, the one that would allow the one big economy sort of bill that would allow the fast approval of these projects that are to come. There's
Mhm.
two things going on here. You got the conservatives doing the typical not enough, not big enough, not fast enough, not good enough, not whatever
Right.
enough. And with the assumption that the current leader with far fewer skills and abilities would somehow have been able to do better.
Of course.
We'll let that one slide for now. But the other part of this was the whole portion that you cannot get around whatsoever with regard to consultation and negotiation with Indigenous communities. Um,
Mhm.
I had issues with which the way the bill was drafted and went through the approval
Mhm.
process because there was very little participative management in that case for
Mhm.
people that are not just stakeholders but rights holders, which is a
Right.
whole other level above stakeholder, right? It's not just somebody who's concerned or
Right.
could be affected. It's somebody that actually has some inherent rights and title involved here. So
Right.
which changes the game
Mhm.
instantly, automatically, legally, constitutionally, everything just completely changes the game. You have to have a different process than when it's just stakeholders. Like it's just
Mhm.
the law requires it. And you're not going to get anything done. It's one of the whole reasons the Conservatives couldn't lay any pipe to Tidewater in over a decade, is because they just
Right.
refused to admit that the Constitution existed and that they had
Right.
obligations. They'd
Right.
rather fight the judges like this and fundraise off that, call them activist judges and say, oh, those big, bad, mean judges won't allow us to build a pipeline. Give us money. So
Right.
it's basically what they fleeced grandma and grandpa for nearly a decade, promising a pipeline they never had any intention to build, because they needed the issue of there not being a pipeline more than they actually needed a pipeline.
Right.
That's pretty
Right.
much how, because your priorities are the
Yeah.
things for
So
which you
I
make time
don't.
in
I
the
don't know.
portfolio,
Like.
and they didn't do that. So, but then he's had like these 3 meetings that have happened afterwards. Little bit of damage control. Some of the first one, the big one with First Nations, hastily organized, and a lot of people, some people didn't stay, some people didn't like it, some people walked out. The one with the Inuit community went very well, but there's a different structure because their treaties are more modern. And they're all already
Right.
legally ensconced and all that type of stuff, and they have boards and all that kind of stuff to make that happen. And then the one with the Métis, which we haven't reported back on the show and yet so much, but we will. But that one went well, but there was still an issue because the Manitoba Métis Federation, which was the big one, basically didn't show up because the Ontario Métis group was there. And the Manitoba Métis believe that all Métis have some type of origin in the Red River sort of area and don't consider them legitimate. And they were also upset because the Métis National Council, which is not a government but an organizing body, was there. And it seems that with the Métis National Council, there's certain members that are not of the Métis community that are not a part of it, and but one of the ones that are the Ontario one. So of course they're not recognizing the Métis National Council as a result.
Right.
But the meetings themselves seem to have gone well with enough people that there's some stuff, even though there's 2 big ticking time bombs there, right? Because any agreement with the Métis that doesn't include the Manitoba Métis Federation
Right.
is pretty much nowhere, if we're being honest, because they're the big one. And then
Right.
there's still a certain core in the First Nations community, certain core of nations that are just not having it with the process and are not convinced by the reassurances at the moment. And parallel to that, you had the really dumb move by the Ministers of the Environment of Alberta and Ontario that wrote a letter asking the federal government to not pursue legislation that it plans to reintroduce to protect waterways and waters affecting First Nations
Right.
in order to get projects done, which, oh God. Anyway.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at, and then of course we have the whole other Indigenous issue in Alberta with the whole separation push, because all that's on treaty land and we have a constitutional thing there. So with regard to how Indigenous people are being included, even though the processes are a little sloppy and sometimes afterthoughts, but that whole component, how do you see it? Do you see it more as we were trying to do things in bad faith and now we're trying to correct ourselves, or just like we're new at this and we're not of bad intent, but we keep fucking up because we're new at this?
Because you kind of outlined how complicated this whole thing is, right? Like when you're describing this, there's this group and then there's that group, and then they don't want to talk to each other, and then it is such a complex issue where it's never going to go smooth. It's never going to go there because there's so many different voices that are competing at the exact same time. So yes, did he do damage control? Yeah, probably. Right. I mean, I think he has the temperament where he can talk to anyone and kind of smooth that over as well too. And I think if he puts the focus on, again, we're in a very precarious situation right now where we have, somebody down south that is not only, turning over the world order, also, making vile, vague threats to our country as well too. That's tapered off a bit, but at the same time, that it's still there,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And we do need these projects. So I do think that Carney's government has the ability to navigate and negotiate well. So I don't know. Like again, it's one of those things where we're gonna have to see how this plays out in the long run. I think they're making an announcement. They announced, a couple of ports that they're, the infrastructure that they're really focusing on, something in Manitoba and something in Quebec as well, right?
Yeah.
So
Churchill,
again,
Montreal, yeah.
there is progress being made here, because they wouldn't have announced those two specific places unless they had in ways in those negotiations to begin with, right? They're not just
Mhm.
going to do, because that's what happened with the last one, right? Like Harper was like, "Oh, we're going to build this pipeline," and then the Indigenous community was like, "No, you're not going to," right? And then sure enough,
Right.
Trudeau did it. So, but they're not going to announce those kind of projects unless there is some sort of backroom agreement in that sense. I don't think so. I do think it's a difficult thing, despite it being Canada. I do think that there's so many. There is the red tape, and I think that was the point of the bill too, right? Because
Right.
we have each province that wants their say, then we have the Indigenous community that wants to say, and then there's voices within the Indigenous community that want their say, and then there's the federal government as well, right? So how do you navigate all those things to get a single project done? I don't know, but I do think that there is going to be progress being made, because the situation politically will force the hand, and I think everybody will recognize that.
Okay. Do you see the potential for a sort of Idle No More part 2, or do you have an assessment that things
I don't
have been
think so. Like
smoothed over enough?
again, I do think that if Carney gets the right talking points and make sure that they're accommodated and that their assurances are met, I don't think we're going to face those kind of things again. It was the last time where it was like, we're ramming it through and we don't care what you have to say. It was that attitude that caused those rifts, right? Whereas if they go into this saying it's a partnership rather than us telling you what to do, I think that's a completely different way of approaching the situation.
Okay. And so
So
you're hopeful that this could be fruitful?
yeah, I do. I think it will be. I do. I think the circumstances where, again, the entire world. I think we're very focused. I think Canada is the fact that we do have the potential to be bigger than we actually are, and I think every community recognizes that, and I think that is the focus right now. I think that's why Carney won, right? Like we won because we are Canada and we want to be bigger than we have the potential to be bigger than we have been. So I think that people will recognize that as well. I think every community will recognize that and work together
Okay.
to get it done, right? I
Yeah.
do. I'm optimistic.
Okay. I like that. I like that. I am too, but there's still there's the manner in which we go about engagement needs to improve, and I am
Right.
still worried about Doug
Of
Ford
course.
personally with regards to getting projects in Ontario, because I really, really just do not get the sense that this man particularly cares about this in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if like somebody gives him a
I mean,
step-by-step book and says,
if he
"You
can't
just
line
need
his
to
own
do this,"
pocket,
yeah, it's sort of like, if you need to do this way, like this, or else, how would I put it this way? Um, if I was like being a realist, I'd be like, Doug, I understand that you live for your developers and that you think that you must do right about
right?
them all the time and you must get them a lot of money. But if you don't do this the right way, like this, you are fighting to get 100% of nothing versus 85%
Right.
of more than you could ever dream of. So
Right.
just do it the right way, please don't fuck us up, because I'm not
Yeah.
getting the sense that Ontario and Alberta are particularly keen on doing the honest nation-to-nation consultation part. And at the moment, if we're going to do this Team Canada thing, we need you to do the consultation part. Thank you, or else you're going to be
Right,
dragging down the
right.
national average pretty damn quickly.
And
Because
well, and then
the
if
indi-
that,
because
yeah,
the Indigenous will not lose in court. They
no,
know the law.
no, they won't. Right. No, they have the law they have the law behind them. So it's imperative that you get that right, so that it doesn't hold up these projects, right? I mean, again, so that's why I do think like Carney announcing it, I do think that there's some backroom deals in there, that there is backroom approvals that have been made, in order for him to be confident enough things. So I guess optimistic. You never know what's going to happen, right? Like you say, it's one of those things where anything can happen on a day-to-day basis. So, but I do think that they're progressing in a way that will be beneficial to everybody. So let's see.
Okay. Um, a little bit of a lighter subject, because we've been talking about deep political stuff, but there's also some
Yeah.
really fun stuff that have happened. I'm not sure if you followed the World Aquatics Championships, but we came home with
Oh
9
yeah.
medals from those, 4 of them belonging to Summer McIntosh specifically. And then a
Yes.
couple of weeks ago, we had Victoria Mboko just sort of come out of nowhere and then win the Masters 1000 in Toronto. And then just last weekend, we had
Mm.
Brooke Henderson win the Canadian LPGA Golf Open right on home soil.
Right.
Is there? I keep on saying Canada, where the women are strong and the men are pretty. 2 examples. What do you think?
True.
How is this hit you? Like, what are we putting in the water for our female athletes to just be tearing
I
it
don't
up? Like,
know. I don't know. It's amazing, right? Like it really. I mean, especially Summer. Like you're just watching her. She's a phenom, right? Like she's like you get that Michael Phelps vibe from her, right? Like
yeah,
Michael Phelps was like everything, and you
yeah, and
get
she's
that
just
from
like,
her. You get the same kind of like intensity, right? So it's awesome. Love
yeah,
it.
and then she comes back and she says, "Yeah, well, I could have done better." Like, you just set a world
Yeah,
record. Yeah, but I
exactly.
missed that last turn.
I
It's like,
know. I know.
right? Just like, yeah, all in a
Oh
day's
my.
work.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, I
have
mean, I think they're trained. Also, they're media trained as well too, right? To not to you know to
yeah,
take it easy, not overhype everything as well too. So, but yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I love it. So we'll see. But maybe a Canadian resurgence in the Olympics, because the Olympics is coming next year too, right? Isn't it? I think
yes, Winter
2026.
ones.
So let's see.
Yes.
Like, hopefully we kill it. I would love it, because usually
Ah,
we're more known for our winter sports, right? So
yes.
let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going. It's like, I'm biased here because I'm a curler. I I want us. I just want us to sweep curling this time. I know everybody wants hockey. I want us to sweep curling.
Right.
I want all 3 goals this
I
time.
know.
Like
I
this, I
know. Me
just like.
too.
We're
I
just
was
like,
pissed last time. I was pissed
"What
when
what
I
are
love
you
curling too.
doing?"
Like, you know what? I'm not a player. I love it. I love watching it. There's nothing more like it is such a like a it's such a weird sport. Like and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's
It
such a
is.
weird like it's a calm sport, but it's also so intense at the same time. Like you get so like into it. It's awesome. I love it. I guess should come the Olympics. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because then it's just a festival of, like, fantastic shots, like, sometimes, like, I've been playing for 20 something years, so, like, as I'm watching these matches at that level, and it's like, "How did you even see that?" Like, that combination as being possible. It's like, I can understand if I hit a rock and it hits another rock and maybe hits another rock, what I can do like this, but, like, 2 different rocks hitting on each other is about the maximum of my math and physics ability. Like this, they're moving like 4, 5,
Right.
6
I
of
know.
them, right? Like this, if you hit that one, that one, there'll be a gear effect that will turn. It's like, and it's like, and they figure it out like in 30 seconds or so. Like, how do you even see that? Like, and
I
it's not
know,
like
it's
they've got to
crazy.
look from above either, right? They're like behind and they're watching the rocks. I mean, if you look from above, maybe you can see
Right,
the but they don't have that view on the ice. I was just like, how did
right.
I was like, I'm just like, because curling is it's the perfect sport for TV. right?
Yes.
They have the
Yes.
packs
Yes.
on because, even though it's
Yeah.
physically demanding when you're sweeping, the rest of the time it isn't really. So they have the packs
Right.
on because they're not going to go flying. Nobody's going to hip check them, and like the equipment's going to go flying, and you're going to bust the microphone. So you can hear them. You hear the strategy discussion. Anybody at home could be sitting there and going like this, well, I would do this and I would do this like this. Everybody can like discuss the shot or the next shot before they do, before they start doing
Right.
it, because the mics only turn on once the shot finishes. But you can sort of see, okay, this is the shot that was called. If they make it, then it leaves this. If it don't, right? So you're at home if you're watching it with people, and you get to talk about the next shot. So it's like you're playing the game, right? While
Right.
you're there, even though like you might not even like have thrown a curling stone in your life, but if you sort of understand the game, you go, well, I would do this next, and then you say, oh my god, they
I
did what I said
have.
they would do next, right?
I have, and it hasn't gone well. It's you think it's easy, right? Like you watch it on TV, and you're like, "Oh man, I could do that, no problem," right? And it's like, "Oh shit, no way!" Like that doesn't go the way that
Oh,
you do it.
split
Screw
squat.
that.
Ow, hurts.
Right.
No, this ice is
Oh
slippery.
god. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
So, but yes, so these are all the performances that you found inspiring, that have like made you happy or made you proud.
Of course. Of course. No,
Ah,
I'm a proud Canadian. I love it. Yeah. So
ah.
anything that we can brag about, let's do it. I don't want to get to the American level of bragging, but I'm an absolutely a diehard patriotic Canadian. So I love to wear that red and white. So it's all good.
Ah, lovely,
It's all
good
good.
stuff. Pete, we're near the end of our time. Do you have anything else that's on your mind that you wanted to bring up today?
No, my friend. I think we. You know what? You're so easy to talk to, right? Like
Oh,
2 hours
thank
or hour and 45 minutes just went by so quickly. So it's all good, my friend.
Ah,
Didn't even
I
notice.
love having you here.
But I do gotta go. It's almost work time. I I
Yeah.
might be
Oh, by the way,
I
because
might
I
be
saw.
late.
Sorry, go ahead.
Cut
Okay,
out.
I'll go ahead then. Um, uh, I
You
saw the comment in the
say
chat
no,
that
say it again.
and I
Say it again.
thought this was
You're
going to
back.
be. No, well, don't worry. I am saying it again. I saw a comment in the chat saying like I thought this was going to be Monday, and no, sorry. Yes, it was going to be Monday because we were trying to arrange to do a pre-record with you yesterday,
Oh right.
so that we could have Mr.
Yes.
Grizzly here and air this one on Monday, and it didn't happen. So I did the pre-record with Mr. Grizzly for Monday yesterday, and we have you today. But there was a very, very, very good reason why you couldn't be
Mhm.
available last night to do a pre-record, and it
Right.
involved someone having a very important soccer game. So since we were talking about
Yeah.
sports, what was
Uh,
how did the game go?
Not well.
Oh
My son's team.
no!
No, the intentions. I mean, he's just a little guy, right? You know how the little guys play in soccer. It's like it's free for all. They're all just like
Yeah.
congregating after and kicking each other in the shins and stuff like that, right? But yeah, yeah, it didn't go well yesterday, so it's okay. He's dealing with it. It's all good.
Okay. He's not too devastated.
No, he's fine. He's fine. He's used
He's
to it.
fine.
He
Okay.
scored, so it's all
Good.
good. As long as he scores, it's okay. Then it doesn't
Did he
matter.
score?
Yeah.
He scored?
Yeah, 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 yeah. He scored
Oh well,
yesterday, so
there. All right.
as long as he scores, then the rest of the game doesn't matter.
All right.
He's at that
But
age, right?
okay.
So
Yeah. Yep. So the DAMFAM, then we got the pom poms out and go. Okay, go son.
yeah,
Woohoo! Great score.
exactly. Yeah. Oh, I'm very loud. I'm very loud on the sideline. So it's fine.
Ah, hashtag good dads.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, my friend, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, my
It's always
friend.
a good time to share space with you and share a good laugh.
Likewise, likewise.
All right, everyone, say bye to our good friend, Mr. Creek Pete. There you go, as he gives a nice
Have a great
wave and
day.
is on his way out. All right. Ah, kits and cubs, there we go. We hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show, because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really appreciate it when you do, particularly when you include a little bit of yourself when you're sharing something, saying why it is it resonated with you or why it is that you liked it. That's advertising we just can't buy. It's priceless, and we thank you for it. Now, kits and cubs, if you would like us to help you, because you're a busy beaver, you're a busy cub, you're on the go, you're doing lots of things, making your community better, making life better for your family, making your way in the world today. And sometimes you don't have time to watch the show on our YouTube channel. So maybe you would like another way to keep up with what's going on in the world. Well, we have that for you, kids and cubs. Yes, we do. Thanks to the generous, oh so generous contribution of the Ray Girl, who has been sponsoring our pod page for several years now. And we thank you for that. That QR code that is right there on the screen will bring you there. And if you happen to be listening to us already on podcasts but are not yet subscribed, podpage.com/the true north eager beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you go there and click subscribe, when we have something fresh off the audiocast bandwidth, it goes zip right into your audio feed, and you don't even have to come looking for us. We just show up and just gently knock on your door and say, well, can you come out and play? And there you go. You put us in your ears, and we are portable, lightweight, aerodynamic, all the good stuff. So we won't slow you down as you are trying to remain informed. Now, kids and cubs, if you would like to help us, well, we would definitely appreciate your help because, well, many hands make for light work. And one of the ways you can help is by surfing on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where our good kits, Cassie and Elaine, are waiting with open arms, beckoning you to come and play with our buttons. Like, share, and subscribe. They are waiting for you. Just give them a little click, and that helps us with the algorithm. Plus, it makes us happy when we see our numbers go up. And, well, everybody likes happy beaver, right? So get me some happy and help us today. Now, kids and cubs, if you would like to help us in yet other ways, Mr. Grizzly and I do incur some costs to bring this show to you. As you know, we are entirely self-funded and funded through your tips, and as well as the little bit of revenue that we do get from Google from having loyal viewers who tune in numbers great enough to generate a little bit of revenue for us. But other than that, that's it. We do not receive, if there are any checks coming from any political parties or political movements, we haven't been able to tap into that yet, if those things exist. So we need your help. If you would like to help us with the cost that we incurred to bring this show to you, we would be very grateful for it. And you can do that by making a contribution to the Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund, where every day we work to fight the scourge that is dry beaver. And because I finished my cup while I was talking with dear Pete, I will not pretend to take a sip from it. Because what would be the point? I would still be dry. So if you would like to make sure that you are doing your bit to keep your favorite beaver moist, because a moist beaver is also a happy beaver, well then, a contribution to the Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund is the way to go. You can scan that QR code that's appeared in the top corner here, or if you're listening, you can go to coffee, that's spelled ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. And when you make your contribution there, that makes it such that we can do more to bring this show to you. And we thank you for your contribution. Now, if you are doing the Buy Canadian thing, which is very, very important, and you want to keep true to that, we're here to help with that as well. truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com is our email address. If you send a bank transfer to us at that address, a direct bank-to-bank transaction keeps everything Canadian. That's a win. By keeping everything Canadian, your contribution does not go through a platform that is controlled by a US CE tech bro who then takes a portion of that cut and donates it back to Donald Trump so that he can do terrible things to our country. So you avoid that. That's another win. And because you're not going through some middleman who's taking a cut, your favorite beaver and your favorite bear get 100% of your donation, which means we can do more with your contribution than we could do otherwise, which is another win. So if you like situations that are win-win-win, a donation to support the Beaver Lodge sent through truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com is the way to go. Now, kids and cubs, if you're not able to contribute financially, please do not worry, because the gifts of your attention and participation are the ones that matter the most to us, and we love to hear from you. So please do write to us. The same email address, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com, is the one that you can use. Let us know what you think about the show, good, bad, or ugly. Yes, even ugly. We do take constructive criticism and constructive feedback, but it has to be constructive, okay? Because we don't take criticism from people from whom we would not take advice. So, constructive criticism, please, or suggestions for guests on the show. Those are always good. Or if you happen to have a small home-based business or know somebody who does, or happen to be working with a community group that has an event coming on and you would like to have more attention being drawn to it, please do write us, let us know. And if there's any way we can help you to get the word out, we would be happy to help. We have many different ways that we can do this, and methods for every budget. So if you would like to advertise with us, we would be very, very, very grateful for the opportunity to help you get your word out. All right. And plus, the members of the DAMFAM are very enthusiastic, and they are very much on the whole buy Canadian and support Canadian effort. So if you do advertise with us, you will definitely have the advantage of being exposed to a group of engaged and committed citizens who are eager to make conscientious choices. So there you go. So that a lot of the sifting work gets done for you, and your message will get to your target audience a lot more directly than if you may be advertising through other platforms that are a lot more general. All right, kits and cubs, because democracy is something that you do well. Forever Canadian. .ca, is still at it. Pop-up sites all throughout Alberta looking for your help. I believe I heard an interview the other day with Thomas Lukasik that says he's got over 3,500 canvassers, I think, or well, at least over 3,000. I'm not going to try to remember what the hundreds were, but at least 3,000 canvassers going throughout the province at the moment, trying to collect signatures. There are even some groups locally that have arranged initiatives to be able to come to you to make a house call if you are mobility impaired. So please go to forever-canadian.ca on the web to find out locations about your closest pop-up spots that will be in your area to pledge to help as a canvasser, to sign up to do that, to donate in any way you can, because they do need money to keep this operation going. It's starting to look like it's more than an operation. It's a movement, which is very, very, very exciting for those of us who love Canada and actually love and fight for Canadian sovereignty. So if you are in Alberta, please do make the pledge and find some time. This is something that you need to sign in person. That's why they have the canvassers. The signatures need to be witnessed. And all of this is to get the referendum question that was approved by Elections Alberta on keeping Alberta as a part of Canada onto a citizens' initiative ballot. And for that, they need about 294,000 signatures, probably a whole lot more because we are dealing with Danielle here. And and some people are setting a goal of trying to achieve 1 million to really send a message, and that would be absolutely spectacular if that could be done. So kids and cubs, again, if you're in Alberta, get out and do your duty, show your love for your country, and make sure you sign that petition drive. Okay, let's see what else we have. Words of wisdom. That's going to be a tricky one. You know what? I'm just going to say, be grateful for the rain. That's my wisdom. My words of wisdom. Yes, I didn't get to play tennis, but you know what? My garden needs it more, and hopefully that rain is going east. And I know that we have some kids and cubs and friends and fans out there who could definitely need some rain. We got about 16 millimeters yesterday, and we got a little bit again this morning. So hopefully that will do a lot around here because uh, June and things have been parched here up until a couple of days ago. Well, up until yesterday. To be totally honest, things have been very parched. So the ground, Mother Earth could use a good drink, and so therefore I am grateful for the rain. All right, kids and cubs. Could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And now, at the count of three, if I may beg your indulgence and yet more audience participation, kids and cubs, could you please say, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yes, absolutely. Somebody sang it with feeling. Woohoo! You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, kids and cubs, a little bit of news about Canadians who make us proud. You'll probably hear this also on Monday's show because we had recorded it yesterday, so there'll be a little bit of repeat there. But yesterday was Canada Day at the U.S. Open with no fewer than 5 Canadians on the courts in singles and doubles. Denis Shapovalov won his match to advance to the third round, but the draw gods have not been very kind, making him face world number 1 Yannick Sinner. Same thing had happened to Leila Annie Fernandez. She won her second round match, but the draw gods also have her playing against the world number 1, Arina Sabalenka. Felix Auger-Aliassime won his match yesterday evening, and the draw gods, again, not kind to him, having him play world number 3, Alexander Zverev in the third round. So tough draws. Gabriel Diallo, as predicted, did have his hands full with Jaume Munar from Spain, and Munar did get the better of Diallo, who was a little flat yesterday on the match. But we still have 3 of the Canadian players, 6 Canadian players that made the main draw in singles involved in the third round, with a very real possibility, unfortunately, that all 3 will be wiped out in the next round. Of the 3, Felix Auger-Aliassime has the best chance because Zverev has been a little inconsistent over the course of the season. Fernandez does have a past win against Sabalenka in her dream run at the U.S. Open in 2019, I believe it is, where she reached the final. And she's playing very, very well. So she might have the confidence that is needed, but Sabalenka is often a brick wall. So, they'll have their work cut out for them. Not impossible because tennis is a any given Sunday kind of sport, but all 3 of them will have tough matches there. In doubles, Gabriela Dabrowski with her partner Aaron Rotliff did win her first round doubles match, and something that has happened and was not planned, but Venus Williams, who is at 45, I believe the second oldest woman to have played match on tour, and I think one, I'm not sure if playing and winning or just playing. But she got an invitation of wildcards to participate in the women's doubles tournament, and she's a 14-time Grand Slam winner in women's doubles, all of them with her sister Serena, and I think a 2-time Olympic gold medalist in doubles as well. And she decided that she was going to participate, but the team that called her up and asked her if she would be willing to join is Leila Annie Fernandez's team. So Leila Annie Fernandez and Venus Williams. Venus Williams, who's 6 foot something, and Leila Annie Fernandez, you know, if she is 5 feet tall. It's interesting to see them on the courts together. They have great energy together. They seem to communicate very well. And yesterday, the gods, again, tennis gods, were not kind to them. They gave them the world number 6 doubles team to play against in their first match ever playing together. And they fell behind 5-2 in the first set, but regrouped and won the first set in the tiebreak, and then won the second set relatively handily, and are moving on to the second round. And the way that the draw is set, they could go deep. They can go to they have a good path if they keep on playing the way they were playing yesterday, to quarterfinals, maybe even semifinals, and who knows, at that point, maybe even winning it all. But they're in the same side of the draw as the world number 1 team, and the world number 1 team is very, 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 very good. Siniakova and Townsend. So that would be one heck of a battle. And I think that they still have I think maybe the number 4 team in their section of the draw somewhere along the way, if they don't get eliminated along the way, that they might face in the quarterfinals. Yeah, but really great to see the Canada-US connection in this particular case, with Leila Fernandez playing with Venus Williams. I'm sure she is going to absolutely learn a lot from this experience. And should it be the case that Fernandez loses her match to Sabalenka, which we hope is not the case, but should it be the case, well, then it allows her to focus entirely on doubles. And hey, you've got a team with a 14-time Grand Slam champion, and someone, Leila Fernandez, who a lot of people forget, did reach a Grand Slam doubles final, not just a singles final at the US Open, but at the French Open in doubles with Taylor Townsend, who happens to be on the number 1 doubles team now in the draw. So if they do get to the final, at least Leila Fernandez will know Taylor's game a little bit, because they played together for 1 whole season and had a lot of success. So that is very interesting. Also, if we are congratulating some Canadians, we do have to congratulate Canadians who are taking part in the AmeriCup basketball tournament here. They have won all matches in the round robin portion and advanced to the playoffs. Yesterday in the quarterfinal, they were playing Colombia and easily handled Colombia 94-56. So their semifinal match will take place tomorrow against Argentina. Finally, Canada at basketball at some tournament was not put in the same half of the draw as the United States. So if it ends up being Canada and the United States, there might be a chance for a gold medal rather than a chance for a bronze medal, because Canada was facing the United States in the semifinal. So that's very exciting news for Team Canada. And as well, Kits and Cubs, Team Canada is participating in the World Under 21 Men's Volleyball Championships, and unfortunately did not get out of pool play, and ended the tournament in 17th place, but came very close to advancing to the playoffs. The difference was South Korea having won one more set than Team Canada in the entire round robin, which made the difference between qualifying and not, which is frustrating because it's so close. But it was a good effort by Team Canada as well. If I am not mistaken here, Team Canada, there's also the Women's World Championships taking place, and Team Canada did indeed make it out of pool play, winning 2 of their 3 matches. Unfortunately, the way that things lined up, Team Canada in the first round of the playoffs is set to play against the very, very powerful United States, who won their pool. So it might be an early 8th of finals exit from the World Championships for the Canadian women, who again, unfortunately, were affected by a terrible draw once again. But hey, that happens, right? The draw is what the draw is, and it's equal chances for everyone to get a bad draw or a good draw. And sometimes, the draw gods just don't go your way. But we will indeed be cheering for them because, again, upsets can happen. But the United States was very powerful, sweeping their round robin matches and only losing 2 of the 11 sets they played along the way. So a pretty powerful team. Whereas Canada on sets were, even though they finished second in their pool, were 6-6. So, yeah, Team Canada, a bit more of a scrappy team here. And maybe, like I said, the conditions will make it such that they will defeat the United States and progress in the tournament. All right, kids and cubs, that is all I have for you. And we are heading off into the weekend, which means, let's see, we are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 more sleeps until I see my beaver sweetie. And over the course of the weekend, I will have the great privilege of being able to go see the musical Hamilton at La Place des Arts in Montreal. So hopefully when I see you on Tuesday live, I will be able to tell you a little bit about the show and how much I liked it and give my recommendation or not recommendation for what it's worth if you haven't seen it yet. All right, that's all I've got for now. Thank you for joining us this week, kids and cubs, and we hope that you liked the programming that we've had for you. And like I said, when you join us on Monday, we will have some grizzly for a little bit during the show. And with that, I am off. Have a beaverific weekend.